And we are back with another one, randomly with Ronnie Jr. That is me. We're going to talk about Melissa Gorga. Now, one thing I've noticed is that there are a lot of episodes that just so accidentally happen to be about Melissa Gorga. Here is a little bit of the best of, where we assemble some of the past episodes where we showcase the queen, Melissa Gorga, and just how great she is on Bravo TV, and just in general with her business, etc., etc. So stay tuned for the ride, because it's all about Melissa Gorga in this best of clip. Enjoy. Last thoughts, the biggest conversation with Real Housewives of New Jersey. We're not going to do it to date per se. We're going to keep this nice and evergreen. What are your favorites in the contribution of what New Jersey's Teresa has brought to the show and what Melissa has brought to the show? And who do you happen to favor with?
I favor 100% Melissa and Joe Gorga. I love the Gorgas. Yes. I love everything about them. I think Melissa is, once again, I think Melissa is sort of the anchor. If you really want to know the truth, I feel like she's the anchor. I think Teresa got extremely jealous when Melissa and Joe came on the show way back when. I think Teresa's very jealous that they have a great marriage, and she has gone through divorce, and her husband lied, and I mean, they've gone to jail. The fact that she doubles and triples down on her hatred, and it just shows such an ugly side to Teresa. But if she could have a full come to Jesus and forgiveness, oh my God, I think the show would be so amazing with both of them if they could just forgive, because they would have their natural little things anyways, but they wouldn't have that it's uncomfortable to watch family members hate each other that much, because when we watch reality, it's escapism, and we all can fight with family members, right? So we don't want to see that kind of it just cuts too deep, and it just became too redundant and boring, that storyline. It was good for 1 or 2 seasons, but it got so out of control. So if they could have come full circle, and Teresa could have really swallowed all of her bullshit pride and said, "You're my little brother. I love you." Meaning, and I never want to fight again. If that could have been a real moment, I think it could have really saved the series. You know what I mean? But now there's such a great divide. I love the Patterson girls that they're Patterson, Joe
Dolores,
and Dolores. They come from Patterson, New Jersey, which a statue of Lou Costello in Patterson, New Jersey. My grandfather came from Sicily with his family in Patterson, New Jersey. I love my Patterson girls, but Teresa, snap the fuck out of it. You're not bigger than the show.
Hey, all right. So listen, you are right about a lot of that. The rest is still unwritten, and I personally like Melissa Gorga.
You've got to evolve, and to we kind of were gossiping about Teresa and Melissa from the Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Real Housewives in New Jersey. Yep. Bravo.
And why it's not working, where I'm team Gorgas all the way.
Yes.
But the problem with Teresa is she had the flipping table. She went to jail. She had all of these crazy things that made for good reality. But then it just became the same old shit. Yeah. She couldn't take any accountability. And then when Louis came in, we thought, okay, maybe Louis will be good reality TV, because clearly he's a hot mess who's just a sociopath looking for, someone that's going to take care of him. And we saw that, he was pushing her in a way that wasn't going to be good. It's like he was filling her head with you're the star. This is your show. No, sweetheart. One thing you have to learn about the franchise of the Real Housewives, the brand, the Real Housewives, is the star. Yeah. And the women are interchangeable. The minute you get it twisted and you think this is my show, I'm the star, and it's going to go away if I'm not on it. No, honey. It's years ago. There was a host named Julie Moran who was on Entertainment Tonight. And her husband, Rob, was a client of mine at the management company. And when they were renegotiating her deal, he would say yeah, she's holding out for, so much money, and she's the big name. And I literally looked at him one day and I said, Rob, Entertainment Tonight is the brand, sweetheart. Anybody, any host can come in and read the prompter and toss to some packages and hit a red carpet. Entertainment Tonight is the brand. Your wife is not the brand. 6 months later, they said, she was like, I want $1 million, a week. And they said, no, bye. And of course, Entertainment Tonight, 40 years later, is still going strong. That's the problem that Teresa is getting it. Teresa and Louie are thinking they're the show. Teresa's the star and it can't go on without her. Oh, Bravo show it could go on without her.
Okay, so this will probably be an ongoing series, but I'll start it off right now. 5 reasons why Melissa Gorga is a reality TV superstar. Number 5, upon her first season, even being quote unquote under the shadow, she managed to carve out a space and a name for herself. Number 4, the girl said, I'm gonna give you on display. To this day, I still enjoy it. And the words, listen to the words. Like, she really gave it up in that song. It's a pop song, but let it be. Number 3, her and Joe's relationship. It's flirty, it's sarcastic, it's playful. They got a little bit of jealousy, but a little bit of like, oh, you gonna go with that one? I'm gonna be with this one, you know, as a joke, and it's fun. Number 2, the family dynamic. They're raising a wonderful family, and the number 1 reason is she's the J-Lo of Housewives. The girl is cute. She's got fashion. Melissa Gorga will always be on display. I mean, it's always a perfect time to celebrate that fashion icon, Melissa Gorga, the reality TV superstar. And you know, it's only because sometimes on the algorithms you see, oh my gosh, what's going on with the new season of Real Housewives of New Jersey? As you did last season, by the way. As you did last season, this was supposed to happen, and this was supposed to, and that. All I know is, for me personally, as a fan of the show, love Real Housewives of New Jersey. I think Jackie's amazing. I think Margaret's amazing. I think Dolores Catania is amazing. Rachel Fuda's amazing. Danielle's amazing. But it's like, to me, it's always a good time to celebrate the people that you like. So for me personally, I like Melissa Gorga. Joey Gorga's little sister, just, I hope she's happy. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know why it needs to connect. You should just celebrate who you like. And for me, it is the J-Lo of Housewives, Melissa Gorga. Ooh, 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 ooh. I mean, the fashion that is Melissa Gorga, People's Choice Awards. Now, here's the issue with Real Housewives of New Jersey. Sure, the show that launched Teresa, the show that launched Joe Gorga and Melissa Gorga. And yes, it's been so challenging because nobody gets along. But at the same time, I don't like to put anybody up against somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, why can't they all be successful and have fun? Now, I don't think the Teresa side is very entertaining, very boring, if you ask me. But at the same time, like, let it be. Let it be. Let's celebrate what we do like, which is Melissa Gorga. Oh my gosh. Listen, she's talked about loving fashion for such a long time. And she's even talked about wanting her career after Housewives, whenever that will be, to like being like a talk show host or being on the E channel. And I feel like every time she hits a red carpet, or when E gave her the microphone recently at the Met Gala, I believe it was, she's showing that she could do a lot. Maybe there's some envy if you're not loving on Melissa Gorga, but I am. It would be Kenya Moore, Candy Burris, so on and so forth. So search the channel and you can find that. Now I'm going to talk about the wonderfully iconic Melissa Gorga. But before I do, if you wanted to like, comment, subscribe, and support this channel, here is how you would do it.
For more randomness, hit the Patreon at patreon.com/randomlyronniejr. Did you remember to like, comment, and subscribe? Oh, come on, stop being so lazy. This show has no budget, but whose fault is that if you don't like, comment, or subscribe?
Okay, so how do I love Melissa Gorga as a reality TV superstar? Let me count the ways. Melissa Gorga is Real Housewives of New Jersey, and you have got to understand that Joe's sister meant nothing in my mind, okay? The show was the show. There was a table nudge. The table was not flipped. There was a bunch of cast members, Caroline, you know, don't mess with my family. You know, I'm glad you liked it. I didn't like it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you. Have fun with it. But I also thought it was very interesting, and this could be a whole deep dive I'll do separately, but right now I'm just going to talk about the great Kenya Moore. I'm sorry. Oh, I just talked about Kenya Moore. Right now I'm going to talk about the great Melissa Gorga. That is a spinoff I'm ready for. Kenya Moore, Melissa Gorga.
maybe even throw in a Larsa Pippen and a Giselle Bryant. Oh my gosh, I should be casting for Bravo and NBC Universal. But anyways, if you liked the original Real Housewives of New Jersey, wonderful. But I will tell you this, to me, it never was that impressing. Like, I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed by the concept of, you know, she sort of like everybody against Danielle. I'm never really a big fan of like a lot of people going up against one person, whether they, I don't know, it feels very punching down. And I just felt like that scene as I watched it, and I watched the first season of Real Housewives of New Jersey, it was okay. Now, the show got good because of all the interesting family dynamics. Yes, yes, yes. But Melissa Gorga came through. She was young. She had to take so much criticism. And if you notice, go back to her first season. Go back to that season. And if you see the joy that she put in that first season, and you got to take yourselves in that, put yourself in those shoes. She's coming into a show that is essentially her husband's sister's show, whatever you want to call it. I don't necessarily think she did anything. I'm talking about the sister-in-law. But Melissa Gorga came in having to sort of be under that magnifying glass. And if you notice at the beginning, she was nothing but joyful. Look at it when she's, you know, going to, when they went to the, I think they were, what part, were they in Hoboken or Edgewater or something like that? And they were just so excited. Joe and Melissa they go to see Albie, Chris, the apartment. And it's just like so much joy that I think Melissa Gorga brought to the show. And sometimes people do forget that because there was always a lot of drama, the Joe and the Joes. Anyways, I don't want to even put Joe and Joe Gorga's sister in this conversation. If you like them, that's great. Oh, yay. You know, if you like the forehead, yay. That's all wonderful to you. But I like Melissa Gorga. She's a superstar. She is the Jennifer Lopez of Real Housewives. She's so fashionable. She's so fun. I think Melissa Gorga deserves a spinoff with Joe, with Donna Marco, with the cousin and his husband, like they're the sisters. That's just the show that I want to watch. I think we are in the space, this could be for like Peacock streaming, maybe even instead of Bravo, where we just want fun reality TV programming. It doesn't have to be that salacious, you know, and it kind of went to that direction over the course of a lot of years, not just this reality show, but others as well. Things that go on social media and, Reddit and stuff like that. I'm just saying, me personally, I like Melissa Gorga. I like Joe Gorga. They seem very fun. I would watch a spinoff of theirs. I think she does give you that envy feel, like, yes, you are envious of me because I am naturally a confident person. I relate to the cast members that have a natural sense of confidence, and not even because I grew up that way. I grew up very humble, very quiet. But when I watch on the TV and I say arrogance is different than being confident and showing up for yourself. Melissa Gorga shows up for herself. On Display, to me, still a very fun song. And I think, like, in my opinion, as I've said time and time again about Melissa Gorga, if you do search through this channel, we talk about Melissa Gorga quite a bit. She's just somebody that is going to be successful no matter what. Wherever her, career would have ended up, she would have found a way to be the light in the room, to be funny, to be cute. And I got to do one more thing too. This is just as an acknowledgement of like, oh, Melissa Gorga, and look at her first season compared to now. What are we talking about here? You are a cast member on a show, and so easily sometimes on the social media, it wants to get looked at as like, oh, she is, it's an insecurity. People make changes within their physical appearance on the basis of what makes them feel good. It isn't always about the other person or the commentary. That is the silliest thing. Me personally, I have gained a little bit of weight. Double chin is in action right now, but that doesn't mean I don't want to work hard for myself to get better. In my day, I have been upward in my 20s even, while I was working 9 days a week. Yes, I know there's only 7, but I was working 9. I've been upwards towards 320 pounds and then also 175 pounds in the same 28, 29, 30-year-old year based on my career tenacity and maybe some imbalances in terms of my scheduling. But the point is, I only wanted to elevate and succeed for myself. It had nothing to do with others and the judgment and the opinions. But I do think it's very special that she owns, Melissa Gorga. She owns everything that she's done. She's not embarrassed. What's the big deal? I am on a television show. Why not try to show up and present myself in the best possible way? I think she's a superstar. I think she belongs on, I always say one of my favorite TV shows, possibly because I want to do it career-wise too, is like the Kelly and Mark Consuelo show. You know, I loved Regis Philbin. Kathy Lee Gifford was so funny, specifically when she was on with Hoda, but also with Regis, and I like that style of show. Let me just tell you, if I could wave the magic wand, I and Melissa Gorga would do a competitive Kelly Ripa, Mark Consuelo's kind of show. That would be my co-host. Like, I feel like I'm that talented. Melissa Gorga is clearly that talented. And so, yeah, it'd be going down. She is a superstar. You know she's cute. She seems very caring. She's a wonderful mother. I cannot go on and on about how much I love Melissa Gorga. Now, moving on, I got to talk about the great Giselle Bryant. Now, I don't have to say too many things about how wonderful Giselle Bryant is, but you do have to know that if Giselle was not on that show, the show would have went nowhere. All right, so one of the things I noticed, oh, by the way, this is hashtag randomly with Ronnie Jr. Hello, that is me. If you want to go to my Patreon, it's patreon.com/randomly Ronnie Jr. Now listen, really quickly, we won't spend a lot of your time. One of the things I've been noticing, and this is what I always try to do, is if I am doing the work in terms of content creation and mixing that with all of my other freelance jobs or whatnot, I always try to do like a little bit of research. And one topic that always came up, and it might have been based on some of the things I always talk about, which you know that I always talk about, Team Melissa Gorga. Now that was like early on last season. That was when at the beginning of the season, everyone's like, oh, she'll never make it to another season. And you know, who knows if anyone will make it to another season. It's just a TV show, you know? But nonetheless, you know that I love Melissa Gorga so much, so sometimes I have to wonder, by liking and absorbing a lot of the Melissa Gorga content, which is so fantastic, it's like maybe I start receiving other little stories on Real Housewives of New Jersey, and so some of the things that I had seen, I just kind of wanted to say, I totally have an opinion. And that is, well, first of all, there's a couple things. There's a lot of like, well, who's coming back and, you know, in what capacity, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, that really, it's a show to entertain us and it's really none of our business. I know a lot of people want to take to the Twitter or threads or blogs or content creators want to put it on their shows or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the reality is until the ink is signed and the ink dries, you really don't know what Bravo or Andy Cohen, what do they all have in mind for another season? You know, you never know if some of the tense stuff that went on last season and even the further tense stuff, like if, you know, do people get in, the executives, do they get in this space where they have a meeting and they start to break it down where like, we didn't love it, but the ratings were through the roof. Like, I don't know how that particularly works. I've of course worked in radio and television for a lot of years too, but in terms of this show is different. All I wanted to simply come on and say is, because I was kind of seeing a lot of other, you know, shows or whatever, because I try to watch them all, I try to support them all as a fan, but some of the ones I don't necessarily always agree on, which is totally fine. I have no like huge opposition to that. I just am like, oh, a lot of people are thinking it's not going to work in terms of them meaning the Teresa side or the Melissa side, if they don't necessarily interact, because there's been a lot of talks, you know, I guess talks can be cheap too, talk is cheap, but there's been a lot of talks that like if they're coming back, both of them, that they won't interact, and that will be, you know, what will that look like? And I personally think it won't look bad at all. And I've said this before, if you search through my channel, I've said like, let them both rock, let them both win, give one a spinoff, give them both a spinoff, you know, maybe fight it out, you know, spinoff versus spinoff, and see who really is the queen of the show. Obviously it's Melissa, but my point is just have the confidence that whoever is your queen for Real Housewives of New Jersey, you know, I particularly have not been amused by the other gal, you know, since season 1. You know, when she nudged the table, there was no intrigue, and she didn't even flip the table, she nudged the table. So we should word it as such. And I've already told you what I think about her going up against Danielle, who Danielle typically is not the most physical threat, you know. Nonetheless, it just wasn't for me. Nothing wrong with that. I like Melissa, you know, I like the pretty girls. But my point is one simple thing, and this is just what I think. You can totally feel differently. I think, and I'm trying to think where I get this from. Well, let me say what I think first. I think they could both get that check, coexist. And even though I like Melissa's side of it so much better, she feels very connected to me. I feel like I would get along with her really well. I know that there's just 100 different reasons. If you watch my shows on this channel, I'm always talking about Melissa. So please go visit and see all the the content that I've said about how great she is. But I believe if you get a certain level of confidence, it's no longer a threatening situation. It's no longer like, you even think of the other person. Because to be honest, as much as I like Melissa, I just want to see her win. I'm almost like the other gal could be on the show too. Like it doesn't even phase you really. You know what I mean? If you have that confidence with who you like to see on the TV. And I think I try, easier said than done, but I try to operate like that with myself also. I try to just worry about myself. You know what I mean? It's hard because, certain things do get competitive, and sometimes the network or the show that you're on only has room for so much. So I could see that side of it. But I'm just leaving it at this, that I think both of them could coexist. There's a lot of cast members. They can bring on a bunch of new cast members, break down new storylines. You got Rachel and Danielle, who are brand new. Jennifer's a little bit like, old news at the moment, but you got other people who could contribute. Dolores, her blended family, or not blended family yet, but her new emerging family, and Polly, and, is there a next level to that? I mean, there's just a lot you could really do, and you could have Melissa over here, and you could have Teresa over here, and everything be great, and still showcase their wonderful lives. Whether the filming, goes on in the summer times and it's hot. Clearly, it's hot right now. I'm like sweating. A hot NYC humid night at this moment. But I think you can do it all. So like I said, there's actually a little bit of love that I am trying to give in this moment, because I want to be like, sort of I just want to showcase that while again this other side is not who excites me on the TV, like Melissa and Joe and their whole thing, Donna Marco, the sisters, like the whole thing. I'm all about Melissa and that side of the family. But I think like you also don't want to see anyone lose a check. And for what it is, Teresa has given a lot. You know what I mean? It might have been some of the stuff that just kind of came to her life in terms of her ex-husband and stuff like that. And some of the, going away in those situations. But she's got 4 kids. I don't want to see her off the show. And I just think we need to stop doing that. Now I don't want to keep on going with this episode because it's going to turn into like a high and mighty. Like, no, we all have opinions. This show is drawn up. This is why the ratings are good, to make you get mad and whatever and have a feeling. But I think in this slow time where the show is not on the air and there's all these opinions that are jumping up on Twitter and everyone feels like they're a verified source, let's take a beat, let's relax, and let's let all of the ladies of Real Housewives of New Jersey have a time to shine. Now, it's not my fault that Melissa Gorga is the icon and everyone else is just trying to play catch up. That's not my fault. She just thrives. I'm kidding. It is a hot New York City night. I need to go get some water and an air conditioner and call it. But I definitely wanted to say, let's spice it up. Let's sizzle things up. Shout out to Team Gorga. And we'll see what happens on the next season of Real Housewives of New Jersey, because again, no one really knows. Andy and his team, they all know. But for right now, we got to take a beat and let them all win. Why not? They should all win. You know why? Because I've dabbled in a couple reality programs, both on the production side and on. And I remember, Mundos, TLC Network, American Latino TV, Fuse TV. I know what it's like when you put yourself out there, and sometimes within the story arcs that are already pre-put together and the edits and, some of the things that are angled, you necessarily sometimes can't control a lot of things. And you got to give these women, even the ones you don't like, you've got to give them a little credit for stepping up there and doing what they got to do. Okay, it's too sweaty, so I got to go until the next one. Hashtag randomly with Ronnie Jr. Before I sign out, though, here is a quick word.
Well, hello there. Thank you for watching and supporting the show with my good friend, Randomly Ronnie Jr. Who the hell am I? Great question. My name is Mark Rodriguez with Mastermind Media, and I wanted to take just a moment of your time to let you know about all the other incredible things this guy, Randomly Ronnie Jr. has going on. But first, before we get into that, please comment, like, and subscribe. That is how he grows here on these channels. But one channel you probably don't know about is patreon.com/randomly Ronnie Jr., where he's got a bunch more exclusive content. So please check that out. But speaking of YouTube, let's go back to YouTube for a second. He's got this hashtag, randomly with Ronnie Jr., and it shows all of his stuff in his days in radio from back in the day all the way up to present day, and his new interviews, podcasts, just videos across the board. So please check that out, because when you think about content creators, there's millions of content creators, but there's only one, randomly Ronnie Jr. Let's get back into the show.
Okay. So like Gloria Estefan, thank you, Mark, first of all. And like Gloria Estefan used to say, the rhythm is going to get you, but today I'm going to say the humidity is going to get you. So I got to go do what he said. Patreon, support me, Team Gorga, Melissa. She's an icon. Let's go. All right, what's up? So today we are going to add a little lightness and levity into your day. What's up? I'm randomly Ronnie Jr. and I want to talk about more really fun pop culture. You know, the genre of reality TV has went all different directions, but I was like, let's just focus right now, just for a moment, on some of the really fun reality TV superstars that we enjoy, the ones that we find compelling. And so today, I'm going to do this for several different cast members that I find compelling, bring to our memory all of these wonderful moments from these iconic reality stars on this franchise called The Real Housewives. So let's talk about 5 great moments from Melissa Gorga of The Real Housewives of New Jersey, because you know she is a superstar on that show. All right, starting things off, coming in at number 5.
The birthday cake fight in Boca with cast member Soggy, who wasn't that happy. Melissa was celebrating her 38th birthday, which is actually quite funny because the next year she does make a reference on, hey, you could throw the cake if you want to. When she turned 39, it was Drunk Melissa, and of course the 40th birthday was at Tribeca 360, which was presented by Lawrence Scott Events. And of course her jumpsuit was Walter Mendez. Season 7, Joe and Melissa's flirty relationship. Melissa comes home from work, and Joe does have food cooking. He discusses his previous comment, "You bring in crumbs, I bring in the cake." And they basically have a heart-to-heart. Joe romantically cooks for her. Joe's very romantic. And of course, they talk about dessert and make romantic innuendos about a cappuccino and a candy stick. Melissa Gorga's glow up from season 3 to season 14. She's always shamelessly said, you know, I've had a couple things done, minor work, and she's never been embarrassed about who she is. She was gorgeous on season 3, and she's gorgeous on season 14 and beyond. The season 13 reunion, where she effortlessly dismissed her opposition. She had the lip gloss on, she was calm and collective, and she was looking gorgeous in a Walter Mendez royal blue gown.
I gotta tell you, Melissa Gorga, to me, envious. You're envious of her. She's always on display, and she's consistent. She's beautiful as much as she's a great wife and a family woman. She's just really got it all. You know what I mean? She's very, very, very fun. I think that's why Melissa Gorga has been successful, and she will be successful in reality TV, in her own spin-off series, in her fashion, in her next career, in her last career. She's just always super successful. Before we get into the last moment, if you did want to support, this is how you would do support this channel. Check this out.
For more randomness, hit the Patreon at patreon.com/randomlyronniejr. Did you remember to like, comment, and subscribe? Oh, come on, stop being so lazy. This show has no budget, but whose fault is that if you don't like, comment, or subscribe?
All right, so another great moment, wrapping things up as we celebrate the great Melissa Gorga of The Real Housewives of New Jersey. Joey Gorga he's always so fun. I think their relationship is a really fun, like they have both flirty energy, and then they also have jealous energy. It's just fun to watch. I think the Melissa Gorga 100% a spin-off with Donna Marco, her sisters, her cousin. Like, that's a really, that would be a really fun watch. So Melissa Gorga is, to me, a superstar, and here is another moment that really makes her one of the best to ever do it.
And of course, she was the envy of everyone as she performed on display in season 3, episode 18, bringing everyone together and showcasing she's got the talent to do whatever she wants, whenever she wants.
Hey, Ronnie Jr.